Good morning. I'm Zach Blackburn, and welcome to the Inside Edge. Today is Thursday, December 18th. Governor Phil Murphy has a little more than a month left in office. Even though he has 33 days left of lame duck to keep governing, his legacy is essentially set in stone. There are, as of right now, no defining pieces of legislation moving through the State House, and unless a catastrophe sweeps through the state, his legacy is pretty much locked in. This lame duck has been a bit calmer than most have expected, at least in terms of legislation. Part of that's obviously because the comptroller reform bill was killed after resistance from Andy Kim and state progressives, as well as a bit more of an ambiguous resistance from Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill. In some ways, the fight against the comptroller bill shows how the legacy or how the nature of lame duck may have changed in recent years. Before Andy Kim's rise and the abolition of the party line and primaries, it was far less likely that an establishment Democrat would face a serious challenge from progressives for voting for such a bill, especially with the 2-year buffer between the lame duck session and the next election where they'd be on the ballot. But that's changed, as shown by Andy Kim's concerted effort to challenge State Senator Jim Beach, as well as other Democratic legislators who he considers an impediment to effective anti-corruption measures. Today, there's a peril to lame duck maneuvers that didn't really exist to the same degree 8 years ago. It's a lot harder to push something divisive until after the election, because it might just harm you in the next election. The lame duck is also partly because Phil Murphy and Mikey Sherrill are of the same political party. And they aren't too dissimilar in terms of their legislative priorities. Phil Murphy picked up from Republican, Chris Christie picked up from a Democrat. It's really, if you put aside some of the stuff in the knots, it's been decades since a governor has picked up from another governor of their own party. And so because of that, it just means there's less Democrat versus Republican bickering. And the extent of it has essentially been, this winter at least, progressives versus machine Democrats to an extent. Still, Sherrill would definitely like Murphy to slow down on one aspect, and that's his nominations. Since she won election last month, Murphy has nominated more than 200 people to advise and consent roles in state government, including dozens of judgeships and other important roles. Many of the people who Murphy has appointed would have likely been appointed by Sherrill anyway. And in most cases, it's not the end of the world for Sherrill. It's a lot of people who she would either approve of or would be fine with in the end. But it does rob her of some flexibility and opportunities in the early stages of her term. One such example is Murphy's nominees to the Board of Public Utilities. That board handles much of the state's regulatory capacity for energy, which has been central to Mikey Sherrill's campaign. For example, if Mikey Sherrill wants to, she said she wants to freeze utility rates in the first year of her term. And she's also talked about expanding New Jersey's nuclear capabilities. Those are issues that very well could go before the Board of Public Utilities. And she loses a chance to essentially install a couple of guaranteed allies, even if they are still Democratic appointed members. Murphy got off to a bad start with former Senate President Steve Sweeney, after Sweeney helped push through Chris Christie's nominations in the lame duck. Now, as Sherrill was forced to build a relationship with Senate President Nick Scutari, that same deal is happening. And odds are it'll happen again 4 or 8 years from now. Thank you. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.